Good morning, Asia. Good evening, America. You are watching World DNA with me, Raisha Sehgal. There's lots lined up on the show, but first a quick check on the headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says no ceasefire until Hamas supplies a list of hostages to be released. Warns Israel reserves the right to resume fighting if the deal falls apart and would have US backing in doing so. Houthi warns of consequences for any attacks on Yemen during the Gaza ceasefire, says it will be met with specific military operations without a ceiling or red line. Over 70 arrested at a pro-Palestinian rally in central London for breaching the authorised perimeter for the protest near key government buildings in the UK capital.
We will march! We will march!
US President-elect Donald Trump says he will most likely give TikTok a 90-day reprieve from a ban that is due to take effect on Sunday, on the eve of his swearing-in as the 47th US president. US President-elect Donald Trump has reportedly told his advisors he wants to travel to China after he takes office. He is seeking to deepen ties with Xi Jinping after his threat to impose tariffs on Chinese imports. Mumbai police arrest Vijay Das, prime accused in the stabbing of Bollywood actor Saif Ali Khan from Maharashtra's Thane West area. He will be produced in court today. At least 60 killed in northern Nigeria after a petrol tanker truck overturned, spilling fuel that exploded. Firefighters have put out the flame. Our top focus on World DNA. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has cleared that there will be no ceasefire until militant group Hamas supplies a list of hostages to be released. Moreover, during a televised conference, Netanyahu said Israel has approved a ceasefire deal with militant group Hamas, but both US President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump have given full backing for Israel to restart fighting depending on the outcome of talks on the second phase of the agreement. Netanyahu called the 42-day first phase, which starts today, a temporary ceasefire.
If we need to resume fighting, we will do that in new ways and we will do it with great force.
Well, under the deal, 33 Israeli hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza after 15 months of conflict will be exchanged for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails during this phase. Now, Israeli forces will also withdraw from densely populated areas of Gaza. Displaced Palestinians will be allowed to begin returning to their homes in the north, and hundreds of aid lorries will be allowed into the Gaza Strip each day. Negotiations for the second phase will start on the 16th day. It should see the remaining hostages released, a full Israeli troop withdrawal, and the restoration of sustainable calm. The third and the final stage will involve the reconstruction of Gaza, something which could take years, and the return of any remaining hostages' bodies. Meanwhile, thousands of people demonstrated across Israel on Saturday night urging the government to commit fully to the hostage release ceasefire deal with Hamas. Hours before it was set to begin, and at the same time, hundreds more gathered to condemn the deal inked with the Gazan terror group, which they warned was a threat to Israel's security and also amounted to surrender after more than 15 months of war. Well, after months of a devastating war in Gaza, a ceasefire will take effect in a short while from now. And here are some events that took place right before the truce begins. In Israel's central city of Tel Aviv, an assailant stabbed and seriously wounded a person. A footage circulating online shows attacker fleeing the scene, after which he was shot dead by an armed civilian. Houthis attacked Israel's Tel Aviv city with ballistic missiles. The Yemeni group claimed it targeted Israel's defense ministry. Houthis also struck Israel's southernmost city of Eilat. Israel gave Hamas policemen the permission to operate in Gaza once the ceasefire begins. The police officials will not carry weapons unless absolutely required and keep their distance from Israeli troops. 8 truck convoys in the Egyptian border town of Rafah were preparing on Saturday to cross into Gaza as soon as the border opens. Under the agreement, 600 truckloads of aid are to be allowed into Gaza every day of the initial 6-week ceasefire, including 50 carrying fuel.
غذائية وتدفع بكميات كبيرة، وكانت هناك بعض العراقيل وكثيرا من العراقيل التي وضعتها قوات الاحتلال الإسرائيلي، وبعد ذلك كان
Still on stories from West Asia, the Houthis have claimed that it has struck several targets in southern Israel. This comes as Israel gets ready to implement the first stage of the temporary ceasefire deal with Hamas today. The Yemen-based rebel group claimed it attacked Israel's port city of Eilat with 2 rounds of missiles.
The missile force of the Yemeni armed forces carried out 2 military operations targeting 2 vital targets linked to the Israeli enemy in al-Rashrash area in southern occupied Palestine. The first operation was carried out with a Dhu al-Fikr ballistic missile, while the other operation was carried out with a cruise missile. Both operations have successfully achieved their objectives.
The Houthis reaffirmed its stance with Hamas and said that it would respond to Israel if there are any violations to the ceasefire and hostage deal.
The Yemeni armed forces reiterate their affirmation that they will stand with the Palestinian resistance in Gaza and in coordination with it in order to deal appropriately and militarily with any violations or any military escalation committed by the Israeli enemy during the period of implementing the ceasefire agreement.
Earlier, the Houthis said it attacked Israel's defense ministry in Tel Aviv with a ballistic missile. It also added that it targeted American aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman in the Red Sea with drones. Well, Iran has unveiled a new underground naval base 2 days before Donald Trump's inauguration. The underground naval base of the naval arm of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps, the Iranian state media, without disclosing the location, has said that the base serves as Iran's strategic interest in the southern waters, which includes the Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Gulf of Oman. The state television claimed that some of the vessels kept at the base were capable of destroying U.S. warships and destroyers. Well, the base is built at a depth of 500 meters and is equipped with glass radar evading speedboats that are capable of launching cruise missiles. The Chief of Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, General Hossein Salami, visited the naval facility with the naval commander, Rear Admiral Ali Reza Tangsiri, and that is the day before Trump resumes office as the 47th President of the United States. Well, during his first term, Trump pursed a policy of maximum pressure against Iran, abandoning a landmark nuclear agreement and reimposing sweeping sanctions. Ahead of the swearing-in ceremony of U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, reports now say that the incoming administration plans to launch a large immigration raid in Chicago a day after he takes office. Well, a Wall Street Journal report citing 4 people close who are known to the plan claim that the raid is expected to start on Tuesday and will last an entire week. According to the report, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement will send around 100 to 200 officers to carry out the operation. The journal also reported that Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, told an event in Chicago that the administration is going to start right in Chicago, Illinois. But a source with knowledge of the incoming administration's plan said that there will be no special focus on Chicago or surge of personnel there, but enforcement will be intensified across the country. Well, according to the Center for Migration Studies of New York, the undocumented population remains high across the U.S. During his election rally, Trump laid out a stark vision for the first days in office if re-elected, with policy proposals hinged on mass deportation. And in an effort to remain prepared for what might be coming after Trump takes office, many immigrant advocacy groups in Chicago City and suburbs are reaching out to undocumented immigrants ahead of Trump's inauguration. In New York, too, fears are running high among the immigrant communities. Many are calling on the city leaders to do more to protect them. Trump has always linked the rise in crime, security issues, and law and order concerns to the influx of immigrants in the U.S. As Trump prepares to re-enter the White House, many now wait anxiously for the immigrant order that the Republican leader will implement.
We want people.
TikTok said it will have to go dark or shut down this weekend unless the outgoing Biden administration assures the company that it will not enforce the shutdown of the popular app. This comes after the Supreme Court on Friday unanimously upheld the federal law banning the app unless it's sold by its China-based parent company. After months of legal tussles, the U.S. Supreme Court on Friday upheld a law that would ban the popular video sharing platform in the name of national security unless its Chinese owners reach a deal to sell it to non-Chinese buyers by Sunday. Well, from teenage dancers to grandmothers sharing cooking tips, TikTok has been embraced for its ability to transform ordinary users to global stars when a video goes viral. It also has a fan in Trump, who has credited the app with connecting him to younger voters, contributing to his election victory in November. After discussing TikTok with Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday, Trump told NBC News on Saturday that he can activate a 90-day reprieve from the ban after he reclaims the Oval Office. The law allows a 90-day delay if the White House can show progress towards a viable deal. But TikTok owner ByteDance has flatly refused any sale. The administration of outgoing President Joe Biden has said it will leave the matter to Trump and the White House. After the court defeat, TikTok CEO Shao Xu appealed to Trump, thanking him for his commitment to work to find a solution. TikTok has been lobbying to thwart the law's implementation, with Xu set to attend Trump's inauguration on Monday. The law requires Apple and Google to remove TikTok from their app stores and blocking new downloads as well. The companies can face penalties of up to $5,000 per user who can access the app. Oracle, which hosts TikTok servers, will also be legally obligated to enforce the ban. But it was not immediately clear how quickly the users would feel the effects. And the Justice Department said implementing the ban is going to take time. Days before Donald Trump's presidential inauguration in the U.S., Mexico has announced fresh support for Latin American and Caribbean nations that are focused on tackling migration. Mexico's Foreign Affairs Secretary made the announcement after a two-day meeting in Mexico City with ministers from 11 countries. He said Mexico will expand aid projects to address the migration issue in countries like Honduras, Haiti and Venezuela. This year alone, Mexico allocated over $108 million to such initiatives. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum is also exploring ways to support migrants facing deportation from the U.S., including a new mobile app to help them alert family and consulates. The announcement comes amid regional uncertainty as leaders prepare for the impact of changing U.S. policies under Trump 2.0. At least 60 people were killed and several others were injured after a fuel tanker exploded in northern Nigeria. Nigeria's Federal Road Safety Corps, the FRSC, said that the fuel tanker capsized and the resulting oil spillage triggered the explosion. It further stated that majority of the local residents were killed when they were trying to scoop up the petrol that got spilled over after the truck overturned. Authorities in Nigeria said that firefighters have managed to douse the fire. The latest incident comes after 147 people were killed in a similar explosion that took place in the country's Jigawa district back in October last year. Over 1 billion people live with obesity worldwide, and body mass index has long been the tool used to diagnose obesity. But that does not offer a full picture of a person's health. This because it does not account for differences in body composition such as muscle versus fat. And now, a group of 58 researchers are challenging the way obesity is defined and diagnosed. They are arguing that current methods fail to capture the complexity of the condition and are therefore calling for a more nuanced approach. The revised definition published in the Lancet Diabetes Endocrinology focuses on how excess body fat, a measure called adiposity, affects the body rather than relying only on body mass index (BMI) that links a person's weight to their height. According to a Netherlands-based endocrinologist, this shift could improve clinical care, public health policies, and societal attitudes towards obesity. Although there is not a fixed threshold for obesity, body fat is typically considered to be in excess when it is above 25% in men and 30 to 38% in women. It is because measuring adiposity directly might be impractical or even costly. The researchers also say that the alternative health markers like waist size, waist to hip ratio or waist to height ratio are important. They add it's safe to assume that a person with a BMI higher than 40 has high body fat. Although the latest approach aims to give a more accurate picture of obesity, it is still unclear if it will lead to more or fewer diagnoses. Meanwhile, another framework published last year also recognized that the obesity diagnosis should go beyond BMI. However, many healthcare providers still see obesity as an issue of willpower rather than a disease driven by excess fat. Let's now see what's making news in the world of sports. Open. This comes after the Dane came back from a set down to defeat Memor Ketchenam.
Cake for the Cherries.
Former Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been confirmed as the new head coach of Besiktas. 51-year-old Norwegian has signed an 18-month deal with an option for the 2026-2027 season. This is the first managerial position since being sacked by United in 2021. Besiktas, who have won the Turkish Super League title 16 times, are currently 6th in the standings. They have been without a permanent head coach since November. Here's a look at all the climate stories making headlines today, and with that we call it a wrap. Thank you for staying with us. You are watching Beyond World is One. Stay tuned.
Amid escalating violence in the eastern regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Congolese army announces significant military gains against the M23 rebel group, with Rwanda's Paul Kagame calling for dialogue. Benin celebrates Vodun Days, a festival centered around the arts, culture and spirituality of the voodoo cult, where women are the mainstay of the festivities. And Senegal aims to promote their culture using toys like traditional wrestler figurines or dolls that come in a wide range of skin tones, including albino. That's this week on World of Africa, at these times on WION, World is One.
This week on the West Asia Post. As Palestinians and Israelis wait for the arrival of their loved ones, U.S. top diplomat criticizes Israel's policies on